Hello, I'm Artur Reterski and this handsome guy is Piotr Leszczyński.
Hello.
We are both artists in Wild Monarch studio, and we will be talking about comic art style in games, but mostly about comic art style in Weedcraft Inc. So, something about us. Wild Monarch is hard rock game studio based in Warsaw, which exists since 2015. And from the beginning, we wanted to make good games, of course, but we wanted to make our games unique. So, it's our team. Over 25 people. Some of them are game dev veterans, some of them not. But everyone has a lot of potential, skills, and we are one big family. So during these 4 years, we released a few successful games. Crush Your Enemies, which is an RTS game for people which don't have much time for RTS genre games. Also, the Insult Simulator, which is a fighting game, but you use words rather than fists, and also a sequel of it. And now we released something big, bigger than previous games, right? It was really big challenge for us. First game in 3D with unique comic art style. Okay. So we will be talking about art, so it's our art team. How you can see, there are only few people. From the left, Adam Kozłowski, 3D artist, me as lead artist, Piotr Leszczyński as illustrator, concept artist, 2D art, Aleksandra Skiba, 2D art, concept art, illustrations, and animations, and also Dawid Leśniak, UI art. But during production, we co-worked with many talented people because our team was small and we need them. So Sebastian Skrobol, illustrator, comic artist, tattoo artist, I don't know what else. Maciej Wojtala, art director in Liopi Games. Bożena Hondzyńska, 2D artist, concept artist, illustrator. And Gracjana Zielińska, illustrator and concept artist.
Okay, guys. We want to talk to you about the comic art style, but first let's take a minute maybe to understand what comic is. So on Wikipedia you can find that comics is a medium used to express ideas through images, often combined with text or other visual information. But this is like the small thing about comics, and maybe we can find some elements that define it. So the first element could be panels. Panels divide our images and separate them. Then we got speech bubbles that show what the character is thinking or what the character is saying. Then we got the comic typography, and it's not just Comic Sans, as you can see. We got special signs, you know, some exclamation marks, maybe some stars above the head of the character. Then most of the comics got inking and color, and all of these elements, the rhythm, their colors, their shapes, they are working to show us the story. Comics comes with variety of styles. So, like here, you got Raptors by Jakub Dębski, and for his very funny satirical book, this very simple and childlike style is perfect. And then you got Mike Mignola's Hellboy, yeah, so dark story, and very dark, strong shapes. It just enhances all of the atmosphere. Or you can read the Grass Kings. Just take a minute. Let's just look at the watercolor landscapes. Weedcraft is not the first game that used the comic art style. We know about it, and we searched some other games to find what will be good for us and what will make our game unique. So we've got Frontbreaker, very painterly, detailed and rich style. We got Sable. Sable is not released yet, but you can see the difference, yes? Not painterly style, but very strong shapes, very strong colors, divided by simple way. Or you can watch the Void Bastards. The style is also very simple. The colors and shapes are very strong, but you can see even the using of the sound word there to indicate that someone was hit by a shot. Comic art style is also can be found in the pop culture. So right here you can see Persepolis. This is the perfect example that the very sad, very serious story not necessarily need to be shown in this very grim way. Yeah, this is comic style. It could be not working for this kind of story, but it is. Scott Pilgrim. Everybody knows that movie, and it used a lot of comic elements in it. So we got some sound words, we got this effects of hitting another people, we got some speech bubbles. Or we can have Sin City that went as far as it's possible to be close to the original books. Yeah, the color palette, the speech bubbles, usage of frames in it. It's very like the original book. So the most important thing here is comic art can work for you, but you need to know when to use which element of the comic art. So remember that if you are making a game, it still has to be a game. If you are making a movie or an animation, it will be an animation. You can enhance the atmosphere of the comic, but you have to choose wisely what tools are you using. And in the end, we've got Spider-Man. Great animation, great story, and in the whole movie you can see all the time this hand-drawn elements, the rasters that you can see in the old comics of the Spider-Man. The creators were very, they knew what they wanted to use, and they used it perfectly.
Okay, so when we started to think about comic art style in Weedcraft, we wanted to focus on the biggest visual and most often seen element of the game, cities. Story of the game is placed in real American cities with their specific and characteristic elements of urban construction. And at the beginning, we had some directions. We wanted 3D game with comic art style, so good inspiration was The Walking Dead, the game, of course. But huh? Okay, and another inspiration was this is the police, because this camera view, marks on the buildings, usability could work for us. So with these inspirations, we started making something our. The first tries was like our previous games, 2D, really cartoonish, colorful, simple, and it looks like nice postcard, but not like living city, not like 3D living city. So we had to explore more. So another try, Maciej Volta helped us a little bit. We changed the camera view. Now we can see this 3D concept really, but we don't like a few things about this mockup. First, atmosphere is pretty dark. Every city looks quite futuristic. Also, there is no comic in it. But yeah, we stayed with this camera view and we explored more. So we okay. What is the difference between Polish cities and American cities? And we realized we need to some level design in the economic game. And with this task, Bożenka Hondzyńska helped us. And we started thinking more level designed. So we have this nice perspective. You can see small suburbia buildings with skyscrapers on the horizon. It looks quite like comic. But we were afraid how this art style would look like with all these small elements like UI, colors, some details. We add some of them on the concept, but we had to try it on the 3D city in the engine. So we model the scene. Of course, on this stage without any comic shaders and stuff, but we like it, the level design. Yeah, everything looks cool. We see small buildings, high buildings on the background. Everything looks quite good. So we match this previous concept with this 3D scene, and we get a post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. So we had to think again, because it wasn't something we wanted. Okay, so we tried to explore some comic art, and we needed comic with nice city view, some people living in it with simple lines and colors, and Osiedle Swoboda was the best choice for us. But we don't want to just copy things. So we also inspire with Christian Gastkowiak graphics, where we really like this cross-hatching shading. And also, so this shot was base inspiration for our promo art, and we mixed them, and we made something like this. It's not really concept, yeah, only some piece of it, but we can see we understand how comic cities works. And for example, we have of course detailed small buildings on the first plan. But the farther you go, the less details you see. Also, the last layer, last plan, is just background, just buildings with silhouette. Also, I stole this guy from Osiedle Swoboda just to try how it would look like a character with this city style. And we made it how it looks now in the game. We use white and black outlines for important buildings, and everything looks like comic art. So, city in numbers. We made 20 unique cities, which we tried to make different moods, different ambience for them. For example, snowy Fargo or rainy Denver. Also, we made 400 buildings, 200 small elements, small 3D elements, and around 200 cars. But we had cities, but we don't had citizens.
Yeah, so we got the cities, and we knew that we don't want Weedcraft to be a game about city, only about growing and making your empire. We wanted this game to be a game about people. The story was about people. So as art team, we knew that we need to make many portraits. They need to be fitting into the game's world, and they need to be a little bit satiric. We needed to enhance some elements of the portraits that you can identify in a second. Who are you talking about? Yeah. So this is the first tries. We went into a little bit of GTA style, but the gradients, shadows were not working here, and these characters were too scary. They were not fitting into the city. This is some work about making many portraits from one skeleton, because I think from the beginning we knew that we will want to animate them. So this would surely make our work easy. These are another concept, but still we knew that this is not it. This is not fitting the city. This is not the comic we are talking about. So we knew that the work to do with the portraits is huge, and we will need some help with drawing and with concepting. So we called our buddy, Sebastian Scrobel. So Sebastian made us this test portrait of transvestites. It didn't make it into the game, but we saw it. We knew we will need some adjustments, but this was it. We put it on the scene, and we knew that it works together. It is good, and we've got something to work finally. So Sebastian made for us first portraits. Then we started to animate them, and everything just clicked. Not every character had a big concept stage, but some of the main characters had to fit into the story. Yeah, maybe just looking for clothes to show the best elements of the character. So this is searching for the main character from our first story. We knew that he should be a regular guy to just that everyone can emphasize with him. Yeah, and this is some final looks of him. And here are just small part of all of the portraits from the game. So yeah, we couldn't really do that without help of Sebastian. For some time we were working with Aleksandra Skiba. Me and her were working on it all time, not doing anything else. Like here you see that we managed to do 3 variants from one character. They are all animated in the game. Yeah, and these are some numbers. There's over 200 portraits. We got some real persons there. You can see here our leads from the Vile Monarch. One of them is here. Yeah, and there are some influencers, because we got some YouTubers in the game, some influencers from the United States. So I think they fitted into the game, and it went pretty well. So this is the portraits, but we knew that we need to make some cultivation in the game. Oh, sorry, this is the poster from Grzegorz Przybyś. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of looking like the Krystian Garstkowiak. We needed to show that this is the game about people, so you can see many characters from the different part of the city here.
So yeah, it's also a game about wheat. So cultivation was a very important part, a very important element of the gameplay. So cultivation scene had to be consistent with city scene, but it has different guidelines. So at the beginning, we had this. Prototype usually doesn't look good. But next we tried something like this. Very important was to make space easy to expand and with big visible plants on the first plan, on the first layer. So we tried it, make it in 3D. And on this scene, every element of the scene fight for focus for your focus, and we had to think again how to make this scene, and we tried something like this. I stole the background from Rick's and Morty show. But the important thing was, of course, plants, where you can see there is more space for each plant, so you can manage them easily. You can non-usable things are just put backward on the background. Everything what is important is highlighted, like plants, lamps. So we put it in the game, and that was that. Yeah, it's very consistent with city scene. Of course, it has more lights because lighting in this scene is part of the gameplay. And yeah, you can grow plants. So also we wanted to player could make their own plants, so we made machine where you can put your own strains and just pull the trigger and make another strains. So we paint some fancy icons for effects and tastes. They are based on real taste and effects, which you can't find when you buy medical marijuana. Also, we paint some 2D representation of the strains. You could breed your own strains, so we have to make everything on the layers. Each strain is based on 5 layers. Each layer has their own color. So it's look like this. And user interface.
Yep. Do you know what fear is? Because for me, fear is when you are 2D graphic with 1 year experience and your boss comes to your chair and asks you if maybe you can do user interface for our strategy game. Yeah. So we knew that this won't be a simple, quick job because of the complexity of the whole game. This is a strategy game, this is an economical game. And you have to prepare that one day when you think everything is ready, the guys from design will come to you and say, sorry, this is not working, we have to change it. So you just take it and throw it to the bin. So we knew that we want user interface to be part of the game. We wanted to show that you are a beginner. You are not just like the shark of the business. You are a beginner, and you maybe at the beginning you don't know really what to do. So we thought a little bit about of some I don't know, iPads, cell phones, something like this, but it wasn't really working with the comic style. The paper, the markers were the way to go. But on the other hand, it's really not easy to make this a little bit chaotic style with the handwriting, the paper, and put it in the game that should be very precise and layered. So these are the first iterations. There is paper, there are some markers, but it's very chaotic. And right now, I think it's maybe 1/3 of the information that usually is on these panels. There are some other iterations. I really liked the Diablo 3 interface, so I tried a little bit with this balls of life and mana, but design really didn't know what to do with it, so just went away. We also tried a little bit with graffiti city style user interface, but it was too heavy. It wasn't working really good. So yeah, then we knew that the user interface should be white as it is possible, because the city is very colorful, and we need to find some way to divide the scene and the user interface. But the best thing that you can do when you are doing a UI for your game is just hire a guy that knows what to do. So thankfully, we found one, and from that moment, we started to do some real work. Every iteration was more planned, and we knew that it is going in a good way. So, like you see, the interface is white with some paper folder attachments. It is readable. It is elegant in some ways. We need to find some colors to indicate things on the scene, to show some important things on the papers here. So yellow or orange is usually a very good color to do that. Maybe it will not work in an autumn scene, yeah, but right here it was the color that is not very visible in the city, so we used it. And it is not indicating that something good is going on, like the green color, yeah, or some warnings like red one.
Yeah, so each good game needs a good story. I hope our game is good. Our story was based on real situations and problems which we wanted to highlight. So we needed soft introduction into plot. So we made some animate intros in comic style. So we have two scenarios. You have to play the game. I don't want to spoil them. So you can see it in the game. And for each intro, outro, we made some storyboards. Nothing unusual. We're just showing it because it was hard work and we put a lot of effort to make it very good. So yeah, storyboards. And conclusion.
Yeah, so guys, you can use comic art like to any game you want to do, because comic art style is giving you like many ways to show what you want, and trust me, there are many ways that are not used for today, so it is still to explore. But one of the important things that it can give you, it is uniqueness, because we all know, if you are not doing a photorealistic AAA game, you need to find some uniqueness in other way. So here's the first thing. Then remember to understand the medium. Not everything from the comic art style will work in your project. You have to remember that the first thing of the game is to be playable. You can make it beautiful comic art style, but if it's not playable, yeah, you just lose a lot of money. Yeah, and variety of concept and styles. You want to add anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. This is contact for us. We are still hiring, so write to us if you want to, of course. So, any questions?
Do you have any?
No questions.
Yay.
I have low batteries, sorry, both of them.
Okay.
We can speak outside. Yeah, alone.
Okay, guys, I have a quick technical question. First of all, thanks for a great talk.
Thank you very much.
And the question is, how many joints were used in the research and development process? How many
Joints?
were you using?
None. None. Maybe United States, you know. Maybe someone there. When there's legal and anything. Yeah.
Have you used any movies as a reference for the story background? Have any movies? I think it's more it's question for our design and story writers rather than artists. So
Yeah, maybe Mateusz in his post-mortem will have something.
To
You got
say.
something about it? Okay, okay. Really, I don't think so. There are any like stories from the movies. Yeah.
Okay, so you won't be able to find the stories that you already know from some movies or some.
No. We were mostly working with real life stories because the guys from the Devolver made it for us very easy because they found us the lawyers, the people that have certain situations, and we can base on the real life.
Oh, wow.
And this is what we are trying to do really, yeah? to show the stories that could happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a real base story. Nice.
Yeah, of course.
Big up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We still have time for maybe 2 or 3. Yeah. Come to the stage, please.
Hey, you showed us that lighting is important part of a game. And as an artist, when you didn't know which kind of lighting will be used, how many of lamps the player will use, how did you test? Is it looking good? You will just make a lot of tests or have a different concepts of highlighted plants or in low lighted?
Mm-hmm. Okay, the trick is in okay, I started from city scene because for make cities we use only one source of lighting because only one source make image flatten. So when you are in cultivation, you also have only one light source of the light. But other lamps are just fake lamps. It's this lighting is just I don't know how to pointy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a real lightning in an engine, rather just an image with alpha.
Yeah, it's
Yes, okay.
some fake lights. Of course, there are some lights from engine, but we wanted to make them as less as possible because we want this flattened image as comic art.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions? More? If not, then thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.